Hey guys, it's Elizabeth from Elizabeth Books, and I'm here today to do my mid-October wrap-up. I didn't read too many books this first half of October. I still thought I would do 2 videos so that just in case I read more in the second half, it's not a super long video. So the first book I read in October was Biggest Flirts by Jennifer Eccles, and literally I read almost all of this in September. I finished like the last 10 pages in October, but I didn't include it in my September wrap-up, so I'm including it now. But it was pretty silly. It was just it was about this girl Tia who just never wanted a boyfriend, wasn't very serious, and she met this new guy named Will, and they hit it off right away. And when senior class names come out, or superlatives, whatever that's called, like how I was in high school, I was like best dressed, like most likely to succeed, those kind of things. They got Biggest Flirts, and so it's like they're thrown together even though they don't want to be, and she doesn't want to date, but you know, and there's a bunch in the series about different people and how they're about their what they got, like best dressed and blah blah, and I don't think I'd read any more of them because it was pretty silly. I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars, so you know, I think it would have been good if I was younger, but I just felt like I was too old for it. Then I read The Cemetery Boys by Heather Brewer, and I borrowed that from the library, so I don't have it to show you, but it again was a very silly book. It was about a boy who moved to his father's hometown, and he just meets a group of boys. They call themselves the Cemetery Boys. They hang out at the cemetery, and he just kind of becomes their friends because there's nobody else to hang out with in this town, and he gets involved with the head of the Cemetery Boys' sister and kind of starts dating her, and the ending was just very rushed. It was just very unrealistic, and so I was kind of enjoying it, but not really. I gave it 3 stars. It was just kind of an okay read. I wouldn't really recommend it, but it also wasn't horrible. Then I read Holes by Louise Satcher. I read this for my monthly reading challenge from Catty-tastic, and this month was read a book that got an award, and this has the John Newbery Award. So I reread this, and I know I read this when I was 12 or something, but I couldn't really remember everything, but rereading it I kind of did remember everything, so I was like, oh okay. But it's a really good book. It's probably better as a movie. It's about the same, I think. I think it's about the same as a movie or a book, and I don't think I really liked one over the other. But it's about a boy named Stanley who his family is just very unlucky. Bad things always happen to him, and he is accused of stealing shoes from this famous basketball player, and he's sent to Camp Green Lake, which is a camp where every day boys, juvenile boys, have to dig a hole. And it's to build discipline and character, and you find out through the story that's not what it's about, but I mean, I'm not going to ruin it if you've never heard of Holes, even though I feel like everybody has. But still, it's really good. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I reread it. Then I read 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the author of the Grisha trilogy. Oh my god, this was 10 times better than that series, because that series is pretty good, but this is just awesome. I loved it. It's about 6 outcast, dangerous people who bound together to pull off a heist, and I just loved my favorite characters were this girl named Nina. She was just perfect. I loved her, and I loved the leader of the group, Kaz, and everybody else though, there was no one I really disliked. There was people, I didn't like some of them over Nina and Kaz, but I still loved everyone, and it was exciting the whole book. I was really into it. At first I was confused because it's told in, not really told in different points of views, just there's so many different characters that I kind of got confused, but then reading more into it, I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm really excited for the next one. Then I read Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and I super loved this book. It's really silly because it is fan fiction of Harry Potter, basically, and so reading it, you are, I was comparing it to Harry Potter the whole time, and I was kind of how did this get published? Because it literally is Harry Potter fan fiction, right? It is. I'm sorry. And so a lot of it, I was reading it and just comparing it to Harry Potter a lot, oh, I see, this is kind of this part of Harry Potter, blah blah. But I tried to like ignore that, and when I did, I really did like the characters. I thought they were all funny and great. Penelope was one of my favorites. I really loved her, and I really loved Baz and Simon, like pretty much, you know, main characters. I love them. And the last like third of the book though, I really didn't like that much. Like I was loving this book. I was gonna give it 5 stars, and the last like third of it I was kind of bored and I didn't really like it, and I felt like it was very rushed. And excuse me, I have a cold, so if I sound horrible, that's why. I'm trying to like talk before I run out of my voice. But yeah, I didn't really like the last part of it, but I would totally reread it. I would totally recommend it if you like Harry Potter type books. Just try not to go into it thinking of Harry Potter, because if you do, you'll be mad, and I think it's kind of hard to rate that way. But if you just try to go in and be like, it's a different story, then I think it's good, because that's what I tried to do, and then I liked it. So yeah, I would recommend this one. I really liked it. Then I reread The Young Elites by Marie Lu. I read this in January of 2015, but I really wanted to reread it because I super loved it when I read it. And I didn't own a copy, so I had to pick one up, yay. And I'm excited, super excited for the sequel, The Rose Society, so that's why I kind of reread it, so I could get ready for that one. And it's just about, long ago there was a disease that made a lot of people die, but a lot of people just got sick, and when they recovered, they kind of gained like powers, and so they're called young elites. It's people who are like younger and they have powers, and the main character joins a group called the Dagger Society, and it's just her and a bunch of other great characters. I love them, and it's a very dark book, I feel like, for young adult. It's very action-packed, very ruthless, like this no blink of an eye for like murder and stuff. It reminds me a lot of the Throne of Glass series, because I feel like that's kind of a dark, like, no consequence story, which is what this is like. So it just keeps you on the edge of your seat, and I mean, I loved it. I reread it twice in a year, so you can see how much I liked it. And I'm just so excited to pick up the sequel to this book. And finally, this first half of October, I reread Twilight. Why? Why did I do this? Because I wanted to. And yes, I do have the like edition with the 2 books. I haven't read Life and Death yet. I know it's just going to be Twilight in a boy's point of view, so I'm kind of sad for that. But I wanted to reread Twilight because it's been a few years, probably like 4 or so years, and I was obsessed with this book. I know literally everyone was too, but like for real, I was obsessed with this book since I was like 13 years old, which I feel is like very young to be obsessed with this little vampire book. Because a lot of people, I was watching this video, and a lot of people like didn't know about Twilight till they were like their last years of college or something, and I was like, what? I read this in like middle school. I feel gross. Yeah, I read this in like middle school, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird that I picked this up at like 12 years old or something, when apparently people were like 22 first reading this book. But you know, it's Twilight. You know what Twilight's about. Oh gosh. And I gave it 4 stars because I still really did enjoy reading it. It's not as great as I thought it was, you know. I love this book. Loved it. Could not say anything bad about it. Okay, rereading it, I saw it wasn't perfect. But it was still entertaining, great, and that nostalgia just like took over me, and I just loved it. But I had to not give it 5 stars because I had to be like, Elizabeth, no. You can't give Twilight 5 stars anymore. You're not 12. Yeah guys, those are the books I read the first half of October. What are some books you've read recently? Let me know below, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!